Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. You are all welcome to tonight's event. Welcome, 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 welcome. You are all welcome to tonight's event. You are all welcome to the event tonight. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for Abubakar. Thank you. Thank you. You are all welcome to tonight's event. It's going to be an exciting time tonight where we are going to be learning from one of the top tech experts in the city of Abuja. Thank you for joining tonight's GDG event. Tonight's event, it's a collaborative one. It's being co-hosted by 3 chapters in the northern part of Nigeria. We have GDG Cloud Abuja, we have GDG Gwagwalada, and we also have GDG Lafia co-hosting this event together tonight. And before I go on to introduce our speaker, I can see the organizer of GDG Lafia on the call. So I will quickly give him the floor to quickly give us a brief welcome address, and that would also be followed by a representative from GDG Gwagwalada for a brief welcome address. So over to you, Tasiu Kwaplong. Let's have a brief word from you tonight.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Tasiu Kwaplong, the lead organizer for GDG Lafia. Please, I believe you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Great. So I noticed some people did not really know that they have to go back to the link to click on, the join button. So I'm still sending out messages to people in the different platforms that we have so that they can join. But nonetheless, I guess this is the first event for GDG Cloud Abuja for the year. It's equally the first event for us here. And I believe we are going to be learning a lot. Git and GitHub is a very interesting topic for anyone that is interested in going into tech or already into tech. If you need something for collaboration, something that will, optimize the work you're doing, I believe the speaker would say more on this very topic. Please, everyone, pay attention, and I'm very sure that you're going to learn a great deal from this very event. So thank you very much. That's all from me, from GDG Lafia.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tasu, for that brave welcome remarks. I would now like to call on someone from GDG Gwagwalada, I believe. Fatima or Benai or Najib or Mubarak, are you on the call tonight? If you're on the call, kindly unmute yourself and give us a welcome remark. All right. I guess they will be joining us later. So without further ado, not wanting to waste anybody's time tonight, I would like to introduce our speaker for tonight. And let me quickly read his profile. Let me read out his profile for us. I hope my screen is visible. I hope my screen is visible. Please, I need a response.
Yes, it's visible. What is dark?
All right. Okay, it's dark. How about now? Can you see the speaker displayed on the screen?
No. Yes, now it's clear. It's clear.
Okay, so there's a bit of a delay. All
Yes.
right, so our speaker tonight, who is going to be taking us on Git and GitHub, is no other person than Immanuel Edoh. Immanuel Edoh. He goes by the full name King Immanuel Edoh. And King Immanuel Edoh is an experienced software engineer. He is also a certified cloud engineer with a passion for building scalable and efficient solutions. He's got over 6 years experience in designing and implementing software systems. And this expertise lies in leveraging cloud technologies to optimize infrastructure and enhance performance. His commitment to staying updated with the latest advancements in technology ensures he is always at the forefront of innovation. King Immanuel Edoh is also the head of operations at Code Campus International. It's my pleasure to welcome him to tonight's event to give us a talk, which will last roughly 1 hour on how to use Git and GitHub. So this talk is for everyone, whether you are new in coding or you are someone that wants to improve the way you work with your code and your files and your processes and your collaboration. Tonight's talk is for you. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, join me, welcome King Immanuel Edoh as he takes us on the topic Git and GitHub. King Immanuel, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. It's an opportunity being here. Good day, everyone. Okay, so let's get started with the topic quickly. We are discussing Git and GitHub, and this is a workshop. So we'll be doing some hands-on. You're with your computer, perfect. If you're not with your computer, then you might get the recording of the whole session. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen right now to my slide so that you can see what we have here. Okay, so what is Git? Is my screen visible now?
Yes,
it is.
please.
Okay, I think let me just pause the camera. So, all right, what is Git? So Git is different from GitHub. Let me start with that. Git is different from GitHub, and Git is a distributed version control system designed to help developers track changes in their source code. I believe I'm speaking to developers here mainly, so it helps developers track changes in their source code during software development. Git is widely used both as an individual and collaborative project because of its efficiency, its reliability, and flexibility. So it is a distributed version control system. So the key features of Git: number one, with Git, you can track history of changes in files. You can collaborate with other developers. Git facilitates branching and merging for managing different versions of a project, and it also ensures backup and recovery through distributed repositories. Now, we'll be doing hands-on on all of this. So before now, what happened is, before the introduction of Git, what happened is you save your file on your computer. When you make a change, you have to duplicate that file, give it a new name. So imagine if you have several changes on a particular file. So you just have the files repeated on your computer over and over again. But since the introduction of Git, that has been corrected. Yes, that has been corrected. So why do you need to use Git? It helps you to maintain a record of every change made to the code. So even if your change is full stop, or even if it's a space, you can accurately track that change on your code. It enables seamless collaboration on projects of all sizes. And then finally, Git is open source. It is widely used in the software development. Now, there are different Git-based platforms for collaboration and version control. We have the GitLab, we have the Git bucket, and we have the GitHub. For the purpose of this class, we'll be treating GitHub. And I think GitHub is the most popular Git hosting platform for open source and private projects. Okay. So straight, you go to the GitHub official website. If you don't have an account yet, you sign up with GitHub. I'll be doing that right now. I already have an account. The workshop is for 1 hour, so I won't take you through the process of signing up, or you should be able to sign up your account on GitHub. Okay, so I already have an account on GitHub. So if you have an account on GitHub and you log in successfully, you have this interface. You have this interface, right? So github.com is the URL. After signing up on GitHub, the next thing you need to do is to install Git on your machine. You need to install Git on your machine. So the URL for that is also on the slide, git-csm.com/download. Yeah, so you install Git on your machine. Either you're using Mac OS, Windows, or Linux. I'm on Mac, so you download from Mac, and then you have Git running on your machine, right? So after that, you have GitHub account, you have Git running on your machine. You have to check. So if you have Git installed on your machine, now there are several ways of installing Git on your machine. A lot of people have challenges installing Git globally. So that's another thing you need to look at. You have to install it globally. Installing it globally means you can access Git from anywhere. So how do you know you have Git installed on your machine? How do you know you have Git installed on your machine? You go to your terminal. Okay, so you go to your terminal, type git-version. I believe everybody can see this. Kindly, if the network breaks or you're unable to hear me, you can just indicate and say something. So you do git-version, git space -version to check if your Git is installed on your machine. So looking at this, the Git I have on my machine is version 2.37. So it means I have Git installed on my machine. So if you have all that sorted out, it means you are ready to hit the wheel. So first thing is a repository. First thing is a repository. Now, a repository sometimes or oftentimes is called a repo. If you have been around software engineers, you hear them say, check your repo. I push the repo and all that. So in full, it is called a repository. It is a storage location where all your files, code, and history of a project are stored and managed using Git. Just the way you have folders on your computer. Just the way you have folders on your computer. Just the way you have folders on your computer, you have folders also on your GitHub, right? So those folders there are called, they're not called folders there, they are called repository. In short, we call them repo. 4 important things your repo does for you. Number 1, you use your repo helps you to track changes. It keeps detailed record of all changes made to the file over time. Number 2, your repo facilitates collaboration. It means more than one developer can work on the same project. Yes. Number 3, version history. If any change is made on your repo, it helps maintain a history of commits. I will explain to you what a commit is. So it helps maintain a history of commits, making it easy to revert to previous version if needed. So you can see the current version, you can see the previous version as far back as when you started the project. So your repo has those histories. The fourth one is branching. It enables creation of branches to work on new features or bug fixes without affecting the main code base. We'll go into branching shortly. So type of repositories, we have the local repository and we have the remote repository. The one on your GitHub is the remote repository. The one on your computer gets to be sent to the GitHub. Meanwhile, we use the word push. As we go further in the class, I'll be using the Git terminologies. So local repository is the one on your computer, while the remote repository is the one on the GitHub. So when you have a repository on your computer, when you have a folder on your computer and you initialize it with Git, it becomes a local Git repository. When you push the local Git repository to GitHub, because we're using GitHub for this class, it becomes a remote repository, right? So the first thing we need to do is to create a repository. When you log in your GitHub on your dashboard here, so I think I will close this for now. So when you log in your GitHub on your dashboard, look at this top left. You can see my mouse. There's a new button there, right? There's a new button there. When you click on the new button, you create your repository. Now, there are different repository templates, but as a beginner, I will advise you to ignore it. I created different repository templates for the project I have been engaged with. Most projects I do regularly, I create templates for them. So once I want to build a new project, I don't need to start from the beginning. If I know what I'm doing actually in that direction, I just use a template. So ignore the template for now. Then secondly, owner, choose an owner. For you as a new user, you might be the only owner. But if you school somewhere or you work somewhere and they add you to and they give you this privilege, you have more than one name there.
Mr. King,
for me,
sorry. Some people said that your screen is not showing.
Oh, okay.
Even though I can see your screen from here, but
okay, I just paused the camera now. Maybe the network is, the bandwidth is giving a lot of info. Okay, so thank you very much for the observation, sir. Okay, so the owner should be your name. Of course, it is you. In some cases, you might have more than one owner there, but advisably your name. Then you give your repository a name. So for this class, we're going to give it GDG demo. GDG demo, right? GDG demo. If that name is available, you will see it here. GDG, not GID. Pardon me. Okay, so to correct. Okay, so GDG demo is available. Now you can give your repository a description. You can make your repository public or private. When you make it public, it means the whole world can see it. When you make it private, it means only you and those collaborating with you can see it. Yes, so private. Then you can choose to add a README file on creation. You can choose to add a git ignore on creation. You can choose to add license. So all of these things, you can look them up online yourself. Because of our time, we won't go into all of those things for now. So then I'm going to create a repository. When I click create, the repository is being created, right? So my repository is being created. Okay, so let's go on with the next slide. Okay, so that's the version. Now, there are essential Git commands for setting up your configuration, for setup and configuration, for starting a repository, for basic operations, branching and merging, for remote repositories, for undoing changes, for inspecting and comparing, and then for tagging. We'll go into that in the process of the workshop. So as I'm advancing in the workshop, I'll be using some of those commands, right? Because of our time, let's just maximize what we have here. So after creating your repo, which is this, you have an interface like this. So what do? Let me create a new file. Let me create a new file on GitHub. If I click on a new file, create a new file, it brings me here, right? So I give the file a name. I can give it a name. Let's create a README file. Usually our README file is a markdown file. So md, README file.md. And then I will enter file. This is a README. This is a README file, right? And then I will commit changes. I'll click on commit changes. Now it will tell me what commit message do I want to give this file. I will show you where you can see all commit messages. So I want to give it the name create README file. Extended description. Let me say I created a README file. Created a README file and give the file a text. Commit changes. So I'm going to commit changes, right? So the changes have been implemented. Changes implemented. Now my GDG demo has one file called readme.md, which is this, right? The last commit date was now, a few seconds ago, so it's now. And this is what I have here. If I edit this file again, let me edit this file again. I will do, this is another changes made to the README file. Okay, let me do something else. GDG Cloud Workshop. Okay, GDG Cloud Workshop commit changes, then update README file. So I will say added a text for GDG Cloud, right? Then I'm going to commit changes. So currently, I have committed 2 changes on my README file. I've committed 2 changes on my README file. If I click on history, I can see the 2 changes I committed. I committed the first one 1 minute ago, create README file. I committed the second one just now, and I gave it update README file, right? So this is the code, the commit details. If I click on this, I can see the commit details. This is the unique ID for my commits. So if I click on this, I can see commit details, right? Finally, on this interface, I will do one more thing. Finally, on this interface, then I will explain things to you. I'm going to edit this again. Just observe. I'm going to edit it again. This time, I will take off GDG Cloud Abuja, and I will say, I love GitHub, right? I'm going to give it update, commit message, remove GDG Cloud. I remove the text, GDG Cloud. I remove the line of text. All right. So you have to keep your commit messages as professional as possible. Make it very clear, because if you are collaborating with someone or a group of persons, they can visit your repo 2 years later, 3 years later. So your repo should, at first look, your collaborators or your team members should know what it is saying. Even you yourself should know what you are saying. So now I have 3 commits here. The first one was to create a README file. The second one, I updated the file. The third one, I removed the GDG Cloud, right? So if I check on this commit details. Now observe this interface. Line 1 is white. Line 2 is red. Line 2 is green. What does this mean? The white line states that, this white here states that there was no changes made on this file, line 1. There was no changes made on this file, line 1. Line 1 was intact. Line 2 is red. It means line 2 was removed. Line 2, the second line 2 is green. It means this other line was added as line 2. You can see it has a plus sign and it's green. It has a red color, background color, and it is red. It has a red background color and it is minus rather. So it's saying that this line was added as line 2. This line was removed as line 2. This line, there was no changes made. So this is a typical example of what happens. So with this now you can track the changes and all that, right? So plus 1 line, minus 1 line. There are a lot of details around this, actually. There are really a lot of details around this, but because of our time, we'll not go into that. Now, next, we are going to look at code editor. Code editor. So we're using Visual Studio Code quickly to do some things. So Visual Studio Code is going to be our code editor. Now, we are going to get the repository online to our local machine. Of course, I have done some sign up from Visual Studio Code. Because of time, I won't go through that. We will have another workshop someday. I will go through that long process. Or you can check up online resource for that. So I already linked my GitHub to my Visual Studio Code. So my Visual Studio Code, I can come to File, Open Folder. I want to open a folder. Let me go to Documents, GitHub class, right? I'll open GitHub class. This is an empty folder. This is a folder. It has 1 file inside. I think I will just let me move it to trash. Okay, so this is a folder, GitHub class. I have the folder on my document directory on my computer, right? Then I'm going to bring out the terminal of this folder. So this is the terminal of this folder. You can see here, it has Mac, a computer name, the king, right? Then it has the folder name, GitHub class. Okay, so if I want to bring that repository to my computer, I will type git clone. I will click on code, right? Click on code where we have HTTPS. There's HTTPS, there's SSH and the like, but HTTPS, let's work on HTTPS. So we can clone it using the web URL here. I'm going to copy it by clicking on this icon. So git clone this, and then hit enter. Now, on GitHub, we have a file called GDG demo, right? You can see the file is here. What's inside the file? We have a README file. This is the README file. Okay, so if you want to make changes to this repo, this is actually a bash command, but you should know it if you are doing Git. It's quite simple. You say cd the name of the repo. Cd the name of the repo. Now, in my early days of learning this, I had something called a toolbox. A toolbox, it's just like a handbook, a short handbook, a small handbook like that, where I write short commands and what they are used for, so that I won't forget them until I got used to them. So I advise you to do that. If you are in this workshop and you're not very used to these commands, just get a little notebook, write all these short commands there so you can always reference them. So cd gdg, what is cd? Cd means change directory. Currently, we are on GitHub class directory. That's GitHub class folder. So if you do cd gdg, it means you are saying change directory gdg. So I have entered GDG demo, right? I'm going to put it on a hold for now on that part. Now, if you go to your file explorer, right? If you go to your file explorer, wait a minute. Okay, you see GDG demo here. If you open this GDG demo, depending on the system you are using, if you're using Mac or Windows, there's a way you can show hidden files. You can show hidden files. If you enable if you enable your computer to show hidden files, you will see a Git. You will see a Git, what's it called? A Git folder like this. That is gray. So this Git folder shows that this repository is a Git repository. This Git folder here means that this repository is a Git repository. Right? Okay. So let's run quickly. So I've created a repository, we have cloned the repository, that's our hands-on. Now we did that one on Git. So now, if you don't want to go through that process, a lot of time we don't want to go through that process, right? So if you don't want to go through that process, it's quite easy. There's another process you can go through, which I'm going to show you right now. Quickly, let's do that quickly. I will go back to our GitHub class folder. I'm going to create a new folder here called class demo. We'll get a new folder here called class demo. So this is class demo, right? I'm going to open this class demo on my VS Code. You can open it however you want to open it, but this method is faster for me. So I've opened it on my VS Code. Then I'm going to create a new GitHub repository. I'm showing you another method now that we can use. So github.com, please. So once it loads, on your top right, you will see your profile picture. Then click on it. Now I showed you how to create one with this new button here. Optionally, you can go to your top right. You click on your repositories. Click on your repositories. Then it will show you all your repositories. All your repositories. Right? So I think I have over 100 repositories. So I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to give it a name, class demo. Okay, so I am the owner of this repository. I'll give it a name, class demo. Right? Class demo is a public repository, and then I will create it. Create repository. So once I create this repository, if I want to move this repository to my computer, if I want to move this repository to, if I have a folder on my computer and I want this repository if I have a folder on my computer and I want this repository to be in that folder. The other time I showed you git clone, right? But this other method I'll be showing you is another method using the command line. So I'll bring out my terminal for my computer. Bring out my terminal for my computer. And then first thing I need to do git init. Git init means git initialization. If you look at our slide, okay, we're on slide 20. If you look at our slide, I showed you essential git command. Okay, this one is to set up once you sign up Git and you want to link it to your VS Code at first. You do that. But you see git init, it helps us initialize a new Git repository. Initialize a new Git repository. That's what git init does for us. So I'm going to say git init, but before I do the git init, if you go to class demo, there is no thing inside, right? There's nothing inside class demo. By the time I do git init, success. If you go back to the class demo now, you will see that .git file. It means anything I do now, the changes is being tracked by Git. Anything I do now, the changes is being tracked by Git, right? So after that, I can create a new file. How do I create a new file? I can do Git. You can create a new file, but let's not go through those aspects of the class. Let me just commit. Git commit -m. Now, commit is, I showed you how to commit on the GitHub. So this is how to commit on your local machine. Git commit -m. -m means commit message. That's the M. M there is message, right? So git commit -m. I'm going to say first commit. First commit. I'm going to hit enter. Sorry. Git commit -m. Nothing to commit. Okay, nothing to commit. Nothing to commit. If I create a file here and I say readme.md, right? I think now I have something to commit. So you can see that it's green. It means this change, this is a new change that has not been tracked. So if I do git commit -m first commit, okay, now I need to add this to my commit. So when I create a new file, it is showing green. So for me to add it, I would say git add space, the name of the file, readme.md. Readme.md. If I hit enter, this will work successfully, right? It will work successfully. But if you can't remember git add readme.md, or if you want to add lots of files, you will not be adding them by their names one by one. There's a shorter command. You can just say git add dots. It will add all the files. So even if you have 100 files here, or 100 folders, pictures, and whatsoever, it will add them. So git add, that file has been added. Then I can now do git commit, my first commit, successful. One file changed. You can see now it's no longer green. Right? Then I will go to, there are different branches on Git. I can switch a branch, but we'll come to that shortly. Now, I will connect this to the GitHub, my remote server. So I'm going to say git remote add, then I will write down the GitHub name. Git remote add, then I will write down the GitHub URL. This is the GitHub URL. I just copied it, and I will do .git at the end. .git at the end. Okay. It's saying remote add name. Okay, master branch. So I can branch successfully, right? Branch successfully. Then git remote add. Git remote add, the command is not complete. Git remote add origin. Git remote add origin. So we are git remote add origin. We are linking this to what we have here. Hit enter. It has linked. This one and this one are the same. But these do not have the README file yet because I have not sent it from here, my local computer, to my GitHub. For me to send it, I will do git push. But if it is a first time of pushing to a branch, git push will not work. If I hit enter, it will not work. You can see. If it's the first time pushing to a branch, I have to push with an upstream. I have to set upstream. So I'll say git push -u, then origin main. I'm going to push it. And it will send this file to my GitHub. So now they are linked, and any changes I make there, it will be seen on my GitHub once pushed. Now, if you can cram all those commands and you're pushing for the first time, it's very easy. Once you create a new file, look at this command here. Just click on this copy button. Click on this copy button, go to your terminal, paste it there. It will do all those things I just did. It will do it for you once. It will do it for you once. Okay. So now that I've pushed this, if I reload this page, you will see the README file is there. The README file is there, but it's empty. Let's do a quick practical. Let's try something on HTML quickly, because I think most of us are developers here. We all know HTML. I'll create a boilerplate for HTML. This is the boilerplate for HTML. I will save it. Let me do Google Cloud. Google Cloud, Abuja. Then I will say H1, hello, participants, right? I will save this. Remember, it's green. It's green. So if I want to send this to Git, what do I do? First thing I need to do is I need to add it. Git add file name. And I told you if you have more than one file and you want to add lots of them, there's no point using file name. Just do git add dots. Even if you have one file and you want to make it quicker, just do git add dots. Right? Let's assume this, there's a changes here I make. Okay. Okay. So now I have two changes made here, one on index, one on readme. So I will do git add all. Git add all. Then next I'll do git commit hyphen branch. Then sorry, git commit hyphen m. That's my message. What message do I want to give this? Created an index HTML file. I will push this. I will commit that I've committed it. Then I will push it to GitHub. Git push. I don't need to use upstream now because it's not the first time. So just git push will send it straight up. So if you look at this thing here, it's telling me 2 file changes. I made changes to the index file. I made changes to the readme file. 13 line insertions. So this is line 1 inserted, and this is 12th line inserted. That is 13. You can go deep into this. You can check each and every one of the files that we added, the line of code added, the changes made, everything. You can go as far as doing that. But because of our class, we won't do that right now. Now, if I reload this page, you can see that our index.html file is here. Right? And our readme file is also here. Look at our commit messages. We have 2 commits. The first commit was the first commit. Apologies, I didn't spell it very well. I'm just saying it now. Then the second commit is created an index.html file. First one was done 5 minutes ago. Second one was done a minute ago. Right? So if I click on this commit details, you can see that all of these ones on green were added. All these ones on green were added. No deletion, right? No deletion, and no file was left like that. Okay, so let's run. We're on slide 20 here. Next is branching. Branching is a very important topic in Git, right? Branching is a very important topic in Git. Let me show you what it's still in class. Okay, beautiful. Branching is a very important topic in Git, and it's an essential feature that allows developers to work on multiple tasks simultaneously without disrupting the main code base. So let's assume you work for a company as a software engineer. Let's assume you work for Code Campus as a software engineer, and the project manager tells you as a developer that maybe a button, the sign-up button, should show a particular notification on submit, or a mail as a backend developer. Maybe you need, as a full stack developer, someone needs to get a mail on filling the interest form. What do? You don't just carry the whole code base and start editing it. No. What you need to do is you need to create a branch. You need to create a branch. So by creating a branch, or by creating branches, developer can isolate changes, making it easier to work on features. So on a branch, you can work on it. You can work on features. You can fix bugs. You can test new ideas. So this approach ensures that the main branch, which is called the master branch sometimes, it remains stable and deployable, while branches act as isolated environments for development. So you create a new branch, you do your new feature, or you fix your bug, or you test a new idea. Then you submit that branch using a pull request. Once your project manager or a senior code reviewer sees that branch and is okay with it, they can merge the branch. They can give you approval that the branch is good, then you can merge the branch. So branching is a very important topic in software development. So how do you create a branch? So you create a new branch by switching to, you create a new branch and switch to it to start working. This can be done using this command. So let's say we have this, right? This is our main branch. This is our main branch, right? So let's say we want to create a branch. Now, you can say git checkout -branch, then the name of the branch. So let's say the name of the branch is git class, right? Now, this command this command is not just to create a branch. It creates a branch and sends you to that branch. It creates a branch and sends you to that branch. To create a branch, you can just do git branch, then the branch name. Then if you want to now go to the branch, you can now do git checkout, then the branch name, right? So this command creates branch and sends you to the branch immediately. And that's why I'm showing you this command. But if you want me to show you the other one, it's good. We can, okay, so we can say git branch. Let's say we want to create a branch called git class. Git branch, git class. So this has created a branch called git class, but we are still in the main branch. If you want to go to this git class branch, you can now say git checkout git class. It will send you to the git class branch. You can see now we are now on the git class branch. Look at the bottom left. So instead of writing those two commands, you can use one command to accomplish that. Let's say we want to create a new branch called git lovers and want to go into the branch on creation. We can say git checkout -branch git lovers. So it creates the branch and sends us to the branch by default. This is the branch. Now on creating this branch is still on our local machine. This branch is still on our local machine. So let's say we want to try out a background color on this, right? So we can now say index.css. Then we're going to link this. Let's do this quickly. How is this done? Software engineers. Link CSS index.css. Then body. Okay, background color red. Okay, so now you're told to change the background color of the whole site, which I have implemented here, right? So now this is a new file. So I'm going to say git add all, or I'm going to say git add index.css, right? That's the first thing to do. Git add all. Next, this branch I created is on my computer, on my local machine. It has not been recognized by GitHub yet. So I've added the file to the branch, git add all, git commit. What's the commit message? Created set a red background color. I've done that, right? Now I'm going to push. If I'm pushing the branch for the first time, it will not work until I upstream it. So I'm going to say git push -u, which is the upstream. Then I will call the branch name git lovers. Then I will push. Okay, it's saying does not appear to be a Git repository. Just a minute, please. Git push -upstream origin git lovers. Git lovers is our new branch, right? Yes, I'm spelling correct. Then I push. Now these changes has been pushed to GitHub. So GitHub recognizes this new branch. So when I come to here, I go to, let's go back a bit. I go to my code. Now, this is our main branch. It's showing me a new branch called Git Lovers. Everywhere is quiet. Hope we are still in class. Okay, good. It showed me a new branch called Git Lovers. I pushed this branch 21 seconds ago. Now, I'm going to submit a pull request for this branch. for approval before I merge. So this is what branching is. So I can say, if you click on this now, you can see, I can see two branches here. You can see the main branch and the Git lovers branch. The other Git class branch is not here because I did not push it. So now it's going to show me compare and pull. I'm comparing the new branch to the old branch. I am comparing the new branch to the old branch. I'm comparing this is the old branch, the main branch. I'm comparing it to Git lovers. What is my title? It will pick my commit message, but I can change it. Right? So I can now say I added a CSS file and set the background color of the home page to red. Right? Make sure you make it very clear, because as I use to review, make sure you make it very clear. You can choose to mention the reviewer here. You can choose to format your text properly, create it as a list and all that. Then you create a pull request. Create a pull request. Now, if you have depending on the project, how your project is set up, some project will check for cases, different cases. Maybe if you set linters for the front-end developers, you know what I'm saying. If you set linters or whatsoever, your project would check for those things, and it will show you if those things passes completely here. To show you. Now, this is showing us that the branch has no conflict. So our reviewer can come in here and review. Now, if I'm waiting for the reviewer and the program manager now told me, okay, also add submit button somewhere, I can come here and check out to the main branch. I can git checkout main, that I'm going back to the main branch, or I can create a new branch from here, which will be a branch of Git, which will be a branch from Git lovers, or I can go back to the main branch. So if I go back to the main branch, git checkout main, the index.html file, the index.css file here will disappear, right? The index.css file there will disappear. So the index.css file here will disappear. It means that this main branch do not know about that feature. Okay, so branch is a big topic on its own, and it's a very interesting one. So let me just stick to my slide. So I've created the branch, and that's how you create your branch. So when your approval is gotten, when your code reviewer tells you, oh, great work, this is good and all that, you can also add pictures. When you have a comment from your approval and you think it's okay, you can now merge your pull request. So this will now, the Git lovers branch will now merge to your main branch, right? So let me go to the Git checkout, Git lovers. So if you merge this, it's always advisable that once you merge, you delete the picture branch or the test branch. So this is one pull request, and I'm going to merge it here. You can merge it also on your terminal with your code. You can merge it also on your terminal with your code. So this branch has been merged. So if I come to my main branch now, let me see what we have here. Now you can see that my main branch now has the CSS file. It means the feature has been tested and approved. If I check out now, it means the feature has been tested and approved. So this is all about branching. Okay, so let's assume next topic is forking, right? Forking. Okay, so what is Git forking? So forking is a process in Git that creates a copy of an existing repository under your own account. Unlike cloning, which creates a local copy of the repository on your machine, forking creates a duplicate of the repository on a platform from GitHub. This is especially useful for contributing to open source projects or working on a project independently without affecting the original repository. So if you see a repository online that you love, let me search for something. Let me search for a repository online. Let me just search for a repository online. So if you want to make a copy of that repository, I'm talking about cloning. You want to make a copy. You want to duplicate the original copy to your own computer. It is called forking. It is called forking. So there are different repositories online, especially if you are very interested, you're very much interested in open source. You can leverage on that forking. So this guy here has, okay, I'm searching for something online. Let me see what forking is all about. So this is repositories on Apple. This one has 3.5 star, this one has 2.53 stars, this one has 4.2. They've just created different repo. Apple Dog, stands for Thomas and the likes. So you can choose to start it, but if you come to this repo and if you come to the repo, I just clicked on it, so I think it's loading. If you come to the repo, you will see how you can fork the repo, right? Look at the repo has 632 forks here. So if I click on this button, it will create a copy of this repository on my own GitHub account. This is not cloning. If you clone a repository, you have the exact copy on your own GitHub account, but it's not your own. But forking will create it on your own account as though it is your own. Then you can, when you hear that something is open source, it means you can contribute to it. So when you fork a repository like this, it is now you are having a copy of it on your own computer. Then you can make changes, create a new branch, make changes, create a pull request, and give to the owner of the repository. They will see it and then they can implement. So this repository has 632 forks. I don't know what this is about actually, what I forked it for. So when you click here, it means forking is successful. Mind you, you cannot fork your own repository because it is your own. There's no need to do that. So let me just, I think I will delete this later. Let me just fork this Thomas repository. So forking it will tell me what name you want to give it on your own computer. So let me say Thomas, so that I will remember, Thomas GDG class. So let me create a fork. By the time I successfully create a fork on this repository, if I check my own repositories, I will see it as part of my own repository. So I have successfully created a duplicate version of the version of what I saw there online. Mind you, I don't know this person, I just saw it online. This for knowledge purposes, please. So okay, so from his README, I can see what this doc is all about. Right? Okay, so that's basically it for forking. Okay, I've discussed branch, I've discussed forking. Now, there are other Git commands. I think our time is up. The other Git command that I have not treated here from what I showed you from the essential commands, I have treated git add, git commit. Git log will show you commit history, right? So when you just type git log, it will show you commit history. So you can see that we set background color on this git lovers branch, right? And we created an index for HTML file, first commit and all that. So that's what git log does for us. Now I've shown you how to use all of this here. Git status is to check the status of your repository, basically. Then there's git branch. Git branch will list all your repository. So this is git status. Our repository is up to date. There's no new thing. There's no new thing. If I make changes, you can see now that there's a change on the index.html file. So it's showing red. Okay. So if I do git branch will show you all the branches we have. We have the main branch, we have the git lovers branch, we have the git class branch. We are currently on the git lovers branch. So if I do git branch name to create a new branch, I've done that. Git check out this, it will check out to the branch. Good. Git merge is to merge a branch. I just showed you how to merge branch from GitHub. So if you want to do that in a command line, with a command line, you can use git merge. Now I understand that there is this controller here you can use to make Git changes. But I often encourage developers to use this because it will help you boost your bash command line experience, and also you can easily work with any computer, not just VS Code or not just Windows, Linux and the likes. So I encourage you to keep practicing this. So now we have Git remote add. I've taught you this. There's Git pull and there's Git fetch. You can try that on your own. Then you can also undo changes using this Git command. Then finally, 7 and 8 is quite easy. This is just the command. It's quite easy for inspecting and comparing, and then for tagging, it's quite easy. So our time is, we have to keep to our time. And so ensure you look at the other Git commands. And if you have any question, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. This is my name on LinkedIn, and this is my name on Instagram. Thank you very much. My name is King Immanuel. So in the next few minutes, can I ask if there's any question so that we can treat it quickly? We have to keep the time. Thank you. Any question? I need to turn on my camera. Any question? Can everybody still hear me? Okay, so everybody's quiet. So if there's no question.
Yeah,
thank you
we,
very
we,
much.
There is one
thank you very
there
much.
is one hand raised up. B Lord, your hand is raised up. You can ask your question.
So on the command line here, are you using PowerShell or CMD?
On this particular command line,
Yeah.
okay, I'm using ZSH. You can switch it. You can use Bash. You can use whatever you want to use, but not all. I'm not using. No, PowerShell is basically for Windows majorly. So this is not Windows actually, but I will advise you to use Bash. I will advise you to use Bash. Why? Because there are some command you write on those other ones. There are different terminals you can try out. There's some commands you write on them, they will not work. I was trying out something on Lintas 2 years ago. I tried it for 3 days, it did not work. So my friend from Bangladesh, one senior developer, I had a call with him and he told me that change this now, change this. I just tried it and it worked. So I would advise you to use Bash. But throughout this class, I was not using Bash, I was using ZSH. That's for Mac. But the command you're working. But I would advise you to use Bash.
But that's for Mac actually, because I'm using Windows.
Okay.
And PowerShell, command prompt, JavaScript,
Use command.
Okay, I can use command prompt.
Use command prompt. Or optionally, there's something called Git Bash. Let me check. There's something called Git Bash. When you install Git on your computer, there's this Git Bash. There's this Git terminal that you can. When you install Git on your computer on Windows, there's this Git terminal you can see. If I see the color, I recognize it. There's this Git Bash terminal you can see. It's looking like this. Perfect.
Okay.
Let's try this. Yes. You will see it there. It's written there. Because the network is taking time to load, but you see it there. So you can just use it. You will see the logo. You see the logo by the left side of it. So you can use it. That's more convenient for you to use.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The next person.
Questions? Anyone? If you have questions, feel free to ask. You can just signify by raising up your hand and you'll be given the floor. All right, Nabot. Nabot, you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, guys. My name is Daniel. So I've been working with like Git Bash for some couple of years now. So I want to ask like which command line tool is like universal for all that can be used like across all systems, because you know that most systems have like some inconsistencies. So how can we be able to overcome that? So that's my question.
Okay, so command line that is universal. You can't really say a command line that is universal because number one, if you're using a Windows computer, there's some command interface, there's some command line interface that Mac users will have, or even Linux users will have that you might not have access to. But for Mac, universal command line is the terminal. For Windows, universal one is command prompt. For taking it a little bit higher, you can try PowerShell. But if you are doing this for Git purposes, Git, I just mentioned that Git has a command line where you see the logo there on Windows. You will see it, they will write it there. So I think you can try that on Windows. For seeing a command line for everywhere, Windows have theirs, Mac have theirs, and Linux have theirs. More so, people set their computers differently. So Mac users, their terminal might not be like this. Yes, this is ZSH. So they are different depending on the user. Actually, depending on the user. So that's basically it. But if you are using Windows, I would advise that you use command prompt or use the Git bash. There's the Git bash app you can install. Every Git command will work. So that Git bash makes it universal to use everything Git. Thank you. Did I answer the question? Did I answer your question? Okay, Johanna. Who asked that question just now? Did I answer your question? Go to the next person.
Yes. Okay. I thank you for your answer, but like I wanted to like know whether like Git bash now is okay, because I've moved from like now Windows to Linux. So is Git bash like the best option for me?
Yes, that would be the best option for you. Windows, if you are using Windows, basically, you have access to command prompt, you have access to PowerShell. If you're using Mac, you have access to terminal. If you're using Linux, you have access to terminal.
Okay.
But the universal options is Git bash for Windows.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you are using VS Code, it doesn't matter if you are using Windows or Mac. If you're using VS Code, use the VS Code terminal, which I'm using now, right? Use the VS Code terminal. Make sure you set it to bash, or yes, bash, preferably bash. Yes. So for Linux, we have something called a Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. It works with Git natively. That has been tried and tested. It works with Git natively. So it's called Windows Subsystem for Linux. So you can always try that. Yes. Also, Linux has something called Terminator. There are different ones depending on what you're conversant with as a person. They also have something called Terminator, but the Windows Universal Windows Subsystem for Linux is a very good bet for what you want to do. All right. Thank you very much. Please, next question.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So my question is regarding conflict in Git branch. So like I've had situation whereby I'm working on a branch and then I made some changes. Let's say I'm contributing to a project and then I made some changes. So the changes were merged into the main branch. And then when I tried to update my own branch, with the main branch to like bring in new changes from other contributors, then there happens to be a conflict. So in cases like this, how do I resolve the conflict? What is like the easiest way to resolve conflict when you're working with
Okay.
a branch?
That gives conflict. Thank you for this question. That gives conflict. It happens a lot, especially for junior developers. Even for senior developers, it happens a lot. One of the ways I will tell you to resolve Git conflict is number one, don't be in a haste. I remember several years ago when I was learning Git, I always have conflict because I have lots of projects I was doing with contributors. Always have conflict. So number one, don't be in a haste. Don't think there's a fast way to get it done. Don't be in a haste. Just sit down. So now it might take you 5-10 minutes. But if you're in a haste, it might take 2 hours, you're not done. So don't be in a haste, be relaxed. Then number two, understand the conflict. Majorly, or most of the time, Git conflict occurs when two branches modify the same part of a file differently. Tom changed something on a particular file, and Sam changed on that same particular file, on that same file. So when those two branches modify the same part of a file differently, it results to Git conflict. So Git cannot automatically merge the changes when you're trying to merge or rebase or pull. So step to resolve the conflict, number one, I'll tell you that you have to, first of all, pull changes from the remote repository. Pull the changes you are making, keep it aside. The one your contributor already made, pull that one first. If there's a conflict, it will notify you with a message that maybe auto-merging the file name and all that. So pull it first, then identify the conflicted files. You can use Git status. This is more practical though, but you can use Git status. Now, when you open the conflicted file, you will see that arrow. Left arrow. That's the less than arrow, and the greater than arrow. Then you see the dot at the middle. The top and the bottom are both your conflict and from the other person. So you have to study what changes were made there. You have to study what changes were made there. It's very important. You have to sit down and resolve the changes. Sometimes, what I do sometimes is I just remove all my own implementation on that, because it happens when two people are pushing on the same, two people are making changes and they are pushing together. So what I do is sometimes when there's a conflict and I'm the one to fix it, it shows me the file and shows me the conflict. What I do is I remove my own changes made. I remove my own changes made from that file first and ensure that there's no more conflict. Then I introduce my own changes. That's what I do most of the time. So you have to just be relaxed, open it, study the conflict. Those things there, you have to study them, the arrow, to show you your changes and to show you changes from the other person or the other branch. So with that, you can look at it closely and see where the lines or the group of lines are conflicting, and then you implement that. In order to avoid it. So how to avoid it? Now, you can also try out VS Code Git GUI. So the VS Code Git GUI helps you resolve conflicts quickly. It helps you resolve conflict quickly. Secondly, you can try out merge tools. There's a command called Git merge tool. I'm not sure it's going to work here because there's a command called Git, right? So I've not configured merge tool on this particular IDE code editor. So there's a command called merge tool. You can also try a Git merge tool as a command, or you use the VS Code Git GUI. Those things will help you see the conflict clearly. Now, the most important thing is how to avoid it. Before you make any change, ensure that before you make changes to any file and push, ensure that anybody working on that particular file is creating a new branch. Everybody should create a new branch. So communicate with your team. Clearly communicate who is working on which file or features. Who's working on which file or features. Divide the tasks. avoid multiple contributors working on the same part of the code base at the same time. If not, by the time we have like 6 conflicts, it's going to be hell. Not going to be interesting at all. So divide the tasks and then make sure the changes are being pushed frequently. Make sure. So the smaller the code base, the easier and the faster to push to edit to fix conflict. If you don't push your code regularly, maybe you stay like 3 or 4 days before pushing the code, you have lots of conflict. So ensure that the code is being pushed regularly. And like I said, use feature branches. Use branches. Use lots and lots and lots and lots of branches. And avoid making changes to the same file. Avoid making changes to the same file. Thank you very much. This is best understood in practical base. But with time, you understand it when you keep doing it. You understand it. Any question? Any other person? Any other person? Suleiman, Aliyah Suleiman. Let's hear you, please. Suleiman, your hands is up, so let's hear you. Unmute your microphone. Let's hear you.
I wanted to ask, when you get to the GitHub site, how will you make your new folder or file?
That's to create a new repository. Is that what you're saying? Is it to create a new repository? Okay, when you go to github.com, if you are using your laptop, that's a wider screen, not your phone. You're using a wider screen. By the top left, this is the top left. You see new here. Click on new. When you click on new, you create a repository by clicking on new to bring it to a new page, and you create your repository there. So that's very simple. You can always try that. Yes. Or the other method I showed you guys was that I came to my repository. When you click on your repository, this is the second option. When you click on your repository, you'll see. When you click on your repository, you'll see a page that shows all your repository there, and then you can create a new repository there.
Thank you.
I can create a new repository here. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So any other question? Okay. Kwaplong, Tasiu Kwaplong. Let me hear you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Immanuel.
Right, thank you, sir. Oh, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So I have a question. And my question is not to the speaker, but to the audience. Should we have another session again to continue learning Git and GitHub? I want to see your reactions. Oh, okay. Johanna is saying yes. Oh, wow. I'm seeing a lot of hands. Wow. So this is a clear sign that King Immanuel, you did very well in the delivery of your lecture. We have passed the time allocated to us. We're supposed to end by 8, but it's 20 minutes past the time we're supposed to end. Although this isn't a bad thing, but then we should stick to timing. Yes. So at this point, I would like to appreciate the speaker for taking his time to break down these complex things within the short time allocated to him. Please, a round of applause for him. Use the reaction button, guys. Yes, please use the reaction button. Yes, let's appreciate him. He did well. Thank you very much. So on behalf of the 3 GDG communities, GDG Cloud Abuja, GDG Gwagwalada, and GDG Lafia, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. I will appreciate everyone else for joining. We hope that you use this new knowledge or this improved knowledge that you have now to better your working with Git and GitHub. So from me and everyone else, I would like to say bye for now.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Yes. So an email has already been sent for the slides, and even those that couldn't join, it's currently being streamed on YouTube. So an email has been sent already. If you just check your mailbox, you see. So you can go ahead and access the file and the YouTube video, and also share it with your colleagues that couldn't join. So thank you very much.